coming. My name is Becky Poynott, and I am the outreach coordinator here at the Senior Center. And I am the intake site for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. You may hear it as LIHEAP. Sometimes it's abbreviated that way, or Fuel Assistance Program, or Heating Assistance Program. It's all the same thing. And this program is federal money from Housing and Urban Development that gets sent to Massachusetts, and then Massachusetts distributes it to families in need. And I just looked up this statistic. You guys have probably seen it on the news or just felt it in your pocketbook. But last year, heating oil was $3.30 a gallon. And this week, it was $5.71 a gallon. So that is a 73% increase in heating oil. So let's see what we can do about that and how to get more people qualified for this program, because the money is there. We just need to get the word out to people to apply. What is fuel assistance? The Massachusetts Home Energy Assistance Program is a free resource to help eligible households pay a portion of winter heating bills. You will never be asked to pay to submit an application. There are scams out there that ask you to pay. So free is a very important word in this description. When you come to me or you come to a cohort at a different senior center, if you needed to do that, you will never be asked to pay anything. No matter what type of heating source you have, they may be able to help you with your winter bills. If you jump down to the bottom, oil, electricity, natural gas, propane, kerosene, wood, coal, corn was added this year. Depending on what you use, they can help pay. And they also take into account your primary heating source and your secondary heating source. So if you use oil, but also have a wood burning stove that you use perhaps in a different part of your house, then they also take that into consideration. So you can receive two types of assistance. This program goes from November 1st to April 30th, and it is retroactive, meaning if you do not apply until April 30th, you will still get funds for the entire winter heating season. So they don't prorate it. If you apply till later, or they don't get to your application until later, you will still receive the full amount of money. And it can roll over. If you don't use it all, it can roll over to the following year. So that's real nice. Once you have done this application once, you are no longer considered a new applicant. I am happy to help you with your application if you want to come to me as a renewal, but it's much easier to do it as a renewal. So in further years, they will mail you the physical application, and you basically just sign it and turn it in with a few supporting documents. So it's easier to renew than it is to be a new applicant. Who qualifies for this program? This is just a small portion. If you have more people in your family, come talk to me. I do have it all the way to a family of 8. This is gross income, and it includes everyone over the age of 18 in your home. If you have an 18-year-old who is a full-time student, then there's another form that you can fill out that says no income for that student. But everyone who lives in the home, their income needs to be taken into account. Yes, ma'am.
Have they considered the income, the cost of electricity and oil and everything this year? They have?
Yes, so this is adjusted. This is from last year. Non-eligible households are people who are already living in subsidized housing. So if you live in any of these communities, Hillcrest Village or Pine Knoll here in Norfolk, or receive a Section 8 voucher, then the government kind of considers you as already receiving a large benefit. Therefore, you don't qualify for this specific benefit. Some people think that if they are renters and their electricity or their heat is rolled into their rent, then they cannot apply, and that is not true. You can apply if your heat is included in your rental, in your lease. So apply. How do you apply for this program? Step 1 is the checklist. This is the only piece of paper that you need today. It has a lot of words on it, but I have narrowed it down a little bit up there. Photo ID, it's valid photo ID. So there are some seniors who have let their driver's license lapse, and so that really can't be used anymore as a valid photo ID. If you have a passport, a valid passport, you can use that for photo ID and the identification 1 and 2 sections. The only driver's license we need or photo ID is the person who is applying, the person who owns the home or whose name is on the lease. The rest of the household members we need identification for, not necessarily photo identification. So it is proof of citizenship, basically. We need a birth certificate for everybody in the household. We need, or a social security card, that works. There are some naturalization forms or citizenship forms or asylum and refugee documents that if you need additional guidance on that, I have the specifics of that. But most people, I will say, bring in a driver's license for the main applicant and social security cards for everybody else in the household. That's probably the most way people do it. Yes?
Can you bring in copies
Yes.
of these items?
Yes. We do not send in originals. I make copies of everything, and I keep a copy of your whole application, and then we mail out the application of the long form that has a wet signature on it. So that's the only original document that gets sent out. Everything else is a copy. For Social Security cards, it's been changed for, I don't know, about 2 years, but Medicare cards used to have your Social Security number on it. If you still have that card, you can use that one too. That's another option. But I think most people got rid of that because they decided it wasn't a safe thing to do. Again, proof of income for all household members over 18. This can be pay stubs, if you have a pension. Most people provide their Social Security benefits letter that they get in the mail on an annual basis. It's called the 1099 that you get from Social Security. It gets a little more complicated when you have a younger person who's still working, and then they need to provide their pay stubs for the most recent 4 weeks, and they don't accept bank statements. So it needs to be the actual pay stub, not proof of a deposit in a bank account, if that makes sense. Do you have any questions about the income requirements or the income documentation? Yes.
My daughter lives with me. She
Okay.
doesn't pay rent. Can I charge her rent? And will that come off the income?
No, because then you would be gaining income from her.
It's not, okay,
I think it's a wash.
it's a wash.
I think that would be a wash. Proof of home ownership is the other thing, or rental agreement. If you own your home, many people own their home outright and don't have a mortgage anymore. So we need either your property tax or homeowner's insurance, proof of homeowner's insurance. Or if you lease, we need a copy of your lease. We need a copy of your most recent heating bill. And a lot of this has to do with, they need your account number on there. At my house, they come by and they leave a receipt on my garage. And that receipt does have how many gallons they put in, how much it costs, and my account number's on there. So you can bring in that receipt. That counts. Electric bill is your Eversource bill, and we need the front and back of that bill. And again, that has history of electricity use and your account number on there as well. Any questions about those? Yes, ma'am.
Is that the last electric bill?
Yes. Most recent.
What if you're on a budget for your oil? you know, budget payment? We still get a copy of how many gallons though when they.
Right. So when your application comes in, they will contact your oil provider directly, and they'll get a more comprehensive view of your usage. So really, it's triggering additional questions, and they need your account number for that. And that's kind of what the documentation is for. Gather all of these documents, and it is not easy. It takes a while to get all this stuff together. Yeah, some people are very organized, and some people do things electronically, so they just have to print things off, and it's a little bit easier. But once you gather all of these documents, come and see me. My phone number is here on this slide, here at the Senior Center, and make an appointment to complete the full application. Like I said, there's a longer application we will do together, and it requires a wet signature for the person whose photo ID we have. Does that make sense? Okay. And then I mail in your application directly to the organization is called Self-Help. So that's where it goes. When and how is this benefit distributed? Right now, they have told me that they have about a month processing waiting list. I kind of think that might get longer because we just had our first cold snap, and so a lot of people are going to start applying now. So get that application in as quickly as you can. And then you will get a follow-up letter in the mail that says one of two things. It will say, you have been approved for this program and you get such and such amount in a lump sum. Or it will say, we need further documentation. Please send us this form, this form, this form. And it will be included. There are some forms that Self-Help can just send you to fill out. So you can just complete those on your own. And I'm happy to help you if you need that. We can also fax things here so that you don't have to go through the mail if you want to do it that way. Or email. I'm happy to help with that. Your fuel assistance application triggers additional programs that are related to this. There's a little box to check that says, would you like to hear about additional programs? And we say, yes, we would like to hear about additional programs. HEART-WAP, Heating System Repair and Replacement Program. If you have a furnace that needs cleaning, if you have a furnace that is very inefficient, if it's untrustworthy, they can come out and give you a free assessment of the situation. Some people have even gotten furnace replacements, so it's a great program to find more information about. Weatherization Assistance Program has to do more with weatherizing your home to make it as efficient as possible. For example, weather stripping your windows or door flaps so it's not so drafty, so that the heat that does come in stays in. The Water Assistance Program is a new program. There is some money that I have not seen distributed yet. When you apply, if you bring in your water bill or your sewer bill, many people in our town aren't on town water, so that's a kind of a wash for a lot of people. But we can include that in your application and send that in, and maybe you can get a little assistance on your water bill as well. But like I said, I haven't seen that money spent in that way yet. I think it's very new, and they're still figuring that one out. Once you submit your application, there is an automated number that you can call and see if you have been approved. It still takes the wait time, but you will likely hear that you have been approved on the phone sooner than you will get your letter. So if you are curious, you can call. And it says you have to enter your social security number, and it asks, or it tells you how much you have been approved for and if it has gone to your oil provider yet or your electricity provider. It can say amount pending, something like that, if it's you've been approved but the money hasn't gone to the oil provider yet. Thank you. The money, just to be clear, the money will be sent directly to your heating provider. It won't come to you and it won't come to me. They won't tell me if you get approved or not. So the money goes directly from Self Help Inc. to your heating provider, and then it is delivered in one lump sum. Does that make sense? Yes.
If they're gonna send it to the oil company, and so they're gonna like hold it in escrow. If the oil company, say, goes under,
Oh.
I don't know. That's a good question. They have an approved vendor list, so not every heating company is on that list. And I would assume that if they are Rocky, or that maybe they wouldn't be on the approved list that year. And then I haven't seen that so much here in our town. We have fewer providers that come to Norfolk, and they're on the list. But I think larger towns have that problem more, where they use a vendor, an individual uses a vendor who is not on the approved list. And then you just change your account to a different company. But no, I don't know if I would have to assume you get the money sent to another vendor.
If it's in escrow, they can't touch it,
legally.
right? Yeah.
I would hope so. I don't know. That sounds right to me, but yes.
Well, legally, they'd have to keep it in the escrow.
Yeah.
Right,
But that doesn't mean they will.
right. Is that something, if that is something you're worried about, talk to me, and then maybe during the application process, we can figure that out.
Yeah, well, it concerns everybody. I mean, any company, not just oil companies, but any company can go down the tubes.
True.
And there'll be,
Yeah.
when you're gonna have this kind of a huge switch in oil prices, it's easy for them to, get into debt, particularly if the people who don't, are just paying,
Right,
don't pay them.
right. That's a good point.
And self-help, when we did have it, and it
Uh-huh.
was wonderful. But and if I'm not mistaken, you do pay something on your electric bill and something on your oil bill.
Yes.
Okay.
So
It's not free oil and free electricity.
it is a benefit, right? It is a hand up. I would say most people get somewhere between $500 and $1,000. It's based on their usage, their gross income, and so it is a benefit to help you better be able to pay for heating.
But if you're thinking that it's going to pay everything, it's not.
That's
It's
true.
a wonderful program.
Good point. Yes.
Do they take into consideration a 401K or an IRA?
They
or-
don't.
They don't.
Nope. They
So
don't.
it's based basically on gross income.
Correct.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's good.
That includes retirement benefits, right?
That's,
Right. So if you have a pension, or is that what you're asking? Yeah. That does come into your gross. Yeah. Any more questions?
who is it that goes to the houses and puts in new light bulbs and does all that kind of stuff? Is that self-help?
Mass save.
Mass Save, and you can trigger that through Eversource. That's the other thing. If you're not already receiving a benefit through Eversource, you should call Eversource and see if you can get a lower electricity bill. Yeah, so that is also income-based, and it's also medical-based. So if there are some people who have an oxygen machine or a CPAP machine that must run pretty much constantly, Eversource can take that into account as well for a lower electricity bill.
They came to my house years ago, and it was wonderful, except that I couldn't have insulation blown in because there's still a little bit of old-fashioned electrical work in my house.
Oh.
And
Were they going to pay for that?
so much,
Right.
like if it's $1,700, I feel like they had $1,000. I mean, it was really incredible.
Okay.
Replacing refrigerators and everything, it's incredible.
Yeah, that is mass save. Also stoves, refrigerators, stoves, they can give you, I think it's technically a rebate is how they do it. You pay for it up front and then you apply for a rebate and get some cash back. But there are benefits to getting more energy efficient appliances. Yep, washer and dryers too. And I just wanted to throw out there too, I did 2 fuel assistance applications with people earlier this week, and both times we applied for SNAP at the same time. SNAP or food stamp benefits, and it's a pretty easy application. We just went ahead and did both at the same time, because if you can save money on food, maybe you can put that towards heating if you need to, or vice versa. Save money on heating, maybe you can have it more towards your grocery bill. So we're just trying to save money where we can, and I'm happy to help with those applications as well. Any questions? You're welcome to call me anytime. You can stay after and ask me some questions. Thanks.